so weird, especially when people are like, I'm a leftist, fucking ACAB, but also love the fucking cops when they're NATO. Like, how? What do you mean? Like, what do you think American imperialism is? Like, what? If you're going to find yourself talking about, if you're going to find yourself on the opposite side of every contemporary American issue, okay? If you're going to find yourself siding with, like, oh shit, there's so much going on today, Jesus Christ. The anarcho-military industrial complex. Americans act clairvoyant when it comes to Chinese propaganda, then parrot U.S. State Department takes in and shout about Russia. It's wild. Yeah. Couldn't agree more. Iraq was justified by removing Saddam's regime. Look at it now. Afghanistan was justified by removing the Taliban. Look at it now. Vietnam was justified to stop Soviet aggression. Look at it now. This stuff needs to be stopped before it happens, and even though it always is an uphill battle, thanks for spreading the correct takes. I mean, dude, some of those are not built like the others, okay? Some of those situations are not built like the others. Like, the Afghanistan story goes way, way before just would the Taliban need to be stopped. And it had nothing to do with the Taliban needing to be stopped either. It was because they said that the Taliban knew where fucking Osama bin Laden was and would not actually give him up, even though the Taliban literally was like, no, we'll give him up. But like, we have some conditions, like there needs to be a fair and free trial or whatever. And America was like, we're not going to fucking negotiate. Shut the fuck up. We're invading regardless. Yee yee, baby. So, you know, Vietnam wasn't doing great for a very long time. It's doing fine now, but it wasn't before. Anyway, so it's really, really weird that, you know, a lot of people routinely fucking look to history and recognize from a progressive and oftentimes leftist point of view that these incursions, okay, are often justifiable in the moment, or are presented as justifiable acts of aggression or justifiable acts of violence that is purely defensive at the moment. And then everybody gets whipped up into a fucking frenzy and think it's okay and appropriate to do, only to like go back to it 30 years later and be like, oh, I guess it wasn't a good idea. Oopsie. Like, it's like, why? What the fuck? I'm telling you right now, it's not a good idea. Prebo 2, 3, 6. Thank you for the 50 gifted subs. What? Watching something, right? It's literally so different, though. No, it's not. It's not. The reason why we fucking armed the Mujahideen was because USSR was going into Afghanistan, and the communist Afghan government was actually doing a fucking horrible job. So much so that the USSR was like, we don't want to intervene, but like, holy shit, we're going to have to fucking intervene in this circumstance. And that part of the reason why was because the Mujahideen, armed by the fucking American government, going all the way back, going even before Reagan,
brain trot.
The Mujahideen being armed by the American government and fucking getting goaded into acts of violence were becoming a gigantic problem for the communist Afghan government to, you know, demand help from the USSR. That was deliberate. That was a deliberate strategic effort. Okay? At the time, the CIA doing that was totally seen as like the right and justifiable thing to do. Many people still think that it was the right thing to do, regardless. And then Operation Cyclone, which is a continuation of that program, where Ronald Reagan continued arming those fucking Mujahideen, which then turned into the Taliban, by the way. Okay, some of them were the Northern Alliance, and some of them were the fucking Taliban.
I can feel the 9-month brain rot.
And it's just like, it's so fucking strange, dude. The USSR murdered thousands of Afghan farmers in the 1980s. Yeah, they did. I know. It was fucking horrible. It played a big role in the complete destruction of the Soviet Union as well. Want to cover Jimmy Carr's Holocaust joke causing fury online? I would rather fucking die in a video game okay, then I don't even know who the fuck Jimmy Carr is or whatever. Stop sending me fucking joke policing shit, okay? I don't care. Talk to me if Jimmy Carr did the Holocaust, then we'll talk, okay? In which case, that should be talked about.
What's going on?
Why are you defending Russia? Shit is so weird. I'm not. I think what Vladimir Putin is doing is unacceptable. I think Vladimir Putin should focus more on making sure the Russian economy is working rather than trying to fucking expand into Ukraine. Okay? Anyway, there's a new body camera video that shows the fatal shooting of 22-year-old man inside of a Minneapolis apartment, okay? This is the Minneapolis Police Department fatally shooting Amir Locke during the execution of a search warrant for SBPD where Amir was not listed as a person of interest, according to an attorney who has spoken to the family. Okay? Now, trigger warning, police brutality, trigger warning, white supremacist fucking racist acts of violence. We are going to be covering this story right now. Okay?
There is rising outrage this morning over a no-knock police search in Minneapolis that led to a deadly shooting by SWAT team officers. Police video of the raid was released yesterday. We must warn you, it is disturbing to watch. 22-year-old Amir Locke was lying on a couch when officers burst in as part of a murder investigation. Police say he pointed a gun at the officers and was shot, but the city's interim police chief say Locke was not the man the officers were looking for. Jerika Duncan is following the investigation and the demand for answers from Locke's family. Jerika, good morning.
Good morning to all of you. Activists demanded the release of this body cam footage after Wednesday morning's raid. The Minneapolis Police Department has been under scrutiny for years, but the department was put under the national spotlight, of course, in May in 2020 after the killing of George Floyd. This latest incident is igniting calls to put an end.
So people are saying it's not a murder investigation. People are saying he didn't point the gun. I have not seen it yet. I have not seen the entire details yet. I fucking hate it when you guys come in here, okay, and you're like, dude, fuck you. Like, you know, I have all the information. Like, this just happened, okay? This is an ongoing issue. Okay, I don't know what the exact details are. If he pointed a gun, isn't that kind of expected? No, the fuck not, because those guys should not be doing that. The court system should not be issuing no-knock warrants like this, okay? And people should not be fucking breaking in to people's apartments. Like, violent paramilitaries should not be able to break into your fucking apartment like this. It's crazy, okay? Like, you can't have both the Second Amendment and then justify this kind of action, okay? You can't have both. Why the fuck does he have a gun? Why the fuck do we have a Second Amendment? They should if they are criminals. Okay, well, what happens when they're not? What happens when they're not under the active investigation, when they're not covered by the search warrant, but now they're fucking dead? You know, you're just sitting at home. You have a gun. Okay? And they just blast through your fucking door. What are you supposed to do? So annoying, dude. It's so fucking annoying. Like, the idea that we still have no-knock warrants is absolutely insane. It's just a way for fucking hoorah dickheads to operate like John Rambo, okay? These fucking roided up freaks literally get off on doing these like fucking no-knock warrants and shit. Like, it's insane, okay? Motherfuckers on Twitter already trying to find if he had priors. I hope they get no-knock warranted, honestly. Like, every time I hear a story like this, when a dude just gets fucking clapped by the police department at his own fucking house, okay? At his own home. sitting on his own couch. And people are like, well, were there priors? Let's try to fucking figure out, you know, if we can justify this from the media point of view. You are a piece of shit. You are bloodthirsty. You are violent. And I do hope that, like, you know, maybe one day you'll understand how fucking awful that is. Okay. I spit on your fucking family, dude.
Yeah,
Curse you and your fucking seven generations. Okay. It's crazy. Anyway. So, in the early morning hours of Wednesday, Minneapolis police officers gently placed the key in a city apartment door before bursting through the doorway yelling police search warrant, according to a body camera footage released by city officials Thursday night. In the seconds that followed, a black man, Amir Locke, apparently asleep and shown to be holding a gun upon awakening, was shot and killed. Police say he was not named in any search warrants before the entry, and attorneys for the man's family say he was in legal possession of his firearm. Police say the warrant was connected to a homicide investigation. Fatal shootings bring further scrutiny to the use of no-knock warrants and shines a spotlight on a police department that has faced criticism before. Hennepin County Attorney Mike Freeman announced Friday that he asked Minnesota Attorney General Keith Ellison to join in his review of the shooting. Okay? There's no justification for this. You can't do that. You can't just like fucking burst into a dude's house and then kill him because he has a gun. How about don't burst into the dude's house? How about fucking knock? It's crazy, man. It's completely fucking crazy. It's completely unacceptable.
To no-knock warrants, where officers can enter the premises without notifying residents.
Body of brain rot.
Cam video shows Minneapolis SWAT officers turning a key into the door of apartment 701 at the Bolero.
Everyone who dies on either side of the no-knock warrants are victims of the police, either side. Yeah, I mean, it's fucking nuts. It's nuts, dude. It's nuts.
Nice day, Hasan.
This is why it's like super mega illegal to fucking SWAT people, like, for the record, because they do come in like this sometimes. Like, people die when you do this shit, you know, and it does happen. And it's fucking bananas because, like, cops should not be doing this shit, okay? Like, this should be a complete last second measure, like, no shot. And this should not be happening at all. Like, there's no such thing. I don't believe in no-knock warrants. I think it's fucking ridiculous. Like, completely unacceptable.
When does the brain rot start again?
People fucking praise the military for doing shit like this overseas and then turn it right around and defend cops doing it on American soil. No, I think it's disgusting when the military does it overseas too. I think it's always disgusting.
Bolero Flats just out.
Yeah, at this point, like, if you're looking at a situation like this and you're like, no, it's justifiable, bro. Homie should not have had a gun in his own house. Like, just say you're a fucking white supremacist, dude. I would rather have you say you're just a fucking white supremacist at this point. Because, like, I'm sick and tired of having this fucking dance over and over again. Every time a black person does self-defense, unacceptable. Every time a white person does self-defense or behaves like a fucking cop, totally acceptable, totally justifiable. We get it, bro. You want to fucking preserve the integrity of the white race. Okay, got it. Not gonna happen. So you just like try to get your fucking licks in anywhere you can, and it's usually just the most pathetic way possible, which is by defending a fucking violent, brutal, untrained, gung-ho paramilitary fucking exercising exercising the only fucking violence that is allowed. Okay, the state's monopoly of violence. Oh shit, you guys just okay? Don't come in yet. Like, hold on. Let me finish the story. Yeah, sorry. I'm talking about.
Kicking us out. This is homophobic and racist.
Okay, Austin and Myth are here, but let me cover the story and then we'll talk because it's a.
Kicking out a black man and a gay guy and a brown
Yeah.
dog.
Yes. Yes. It's not. Guys. It's not the vibes for that. I promise. Okay. I promise. It'll be fine in a second. Myth and Austin are here and they're hanging out. I'm gonna have them over in a second. Kicking out the black guy during this convo. Dude, stop. Just stop. Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. Don't make jokes about this right now. It's just like, read the fucking room, okay? Read the room. It's not time to like make jokes, okay? No knock through stream. Stop. Don't make jokes. This is a serious fucking story, okay? This is a serious news matter that I'm trying to cover with the seriousness and integrity that it deserves, okay? Anyway, let's continue.
After 6:30 Wednesday morning, officers enter and can be heard shouting with guns.
I mean, dude, look at this. Like, he's literally under that blanket. He's like sleeping. He's sleeping in his fucking couch. The entirety of like policing needs to be fucking reinvented, okay? MPD asked the judge to make it no knock after St. Paul police said it was a regular search warrant.
Two months of brain rot.
It's just insane. You're fucking sleeping on your couch, okay? You're sleeping on your couch, and violent paramilitary, like, they don't even fucking knock on the door and say, police, we have a search warrant. They literally get the key from your landlord, okay? They unlock your door and they burst in, and then they start yelling, flashing lights in your fucking face, okay? I mean, this is why we get mad, or why people get mad at, like, you know, Stalinist Russia, why people get mad at the fucking KGB, why people get mad at like all these authoritarian countries. You understand that, right? Like you can't be fucking constantly talking about how fucking shitty China is and how shitty Russia is and how shitty all these other countries are. And then when this is happening in our country, in our fucking backyard, to our brothers and sisters, you're like, I don't know. Seems justifiable. I'm going to find any way and every way I can to fucking justify this shit. It is mind-boggling that the government is allowed to just do home invasions. It's mind-boggling that the government is allowed to fucking kidnap you. It's mind-boggling that the government is allowed, without any sort of fucking prior, like, actual research and proper protocols and proper sign-offs. Like, the way that the sign-off system works is insane, okay? You just go there and you're like, listen, we're all buddies. We're all buddy-buddy. Give me the fucking allowance to do this. Like, I want to be able to execute motherfuckers. Like, that's crazy. That's crazy. That's completely unacceptable. This should not be a fucking tool in the arsenal of the police force. Okay? It's not. Amir Locke carried a handgun because he was a DoorDash driver, and with news of increased carjackings, he wanted to protect himself while doing DoorDash and make sure that nothing happens to him. His father, Andre Locke, says they have family in law enforcement. Oh.
3 months, Pogu.
All the fucking dumbass white supremacists were like hyper focusing on whether Breonna Taylor actually was asleep or not. Like, no, she wasn't asleep when she got shot by the fucking cops, okay? But she was in her house in an identical situation to this one, okay? Like, if you find yourself straying away, whether deliberately or without you recognizing that you're doing this, from the main point of the conversation, which is another life was taken by our military police force, okay? Our militant, violent, untrained police force took yet another fucking black person's life in their own house while they're fucking under the covers or while they're fucking sleeping, okay? Or while after waking them up in another no-knock warrant, okay, raid, which is just a death squad. Like, that's just a death squad. Here, I'll use terms that you understand. I'll use Latin American terms, or I'll use terms that we would only use in Africa or MENA in general. That is a death squad. That's a government death squad, okay? When you fucking when you do a no-knock warrant, when you facilitate a no-knock warrant, you are doing a government death squad. When you do civil asset forfeiture, you are doing a government-backed and government-subsidized theft. You're giving tax dollars to the police department to then come around, turn around, and steal your shit. Okay? It is perfectly legal. They can do that. And this happens like once a year or twice a year. It's crazy. It's like, yeah, dude, sorry. You know, you could just fucking get murked in your own house. Sorry, GG's, you know, nothing you can do about that. Amir Locke was asleep on the couch under the covers when the police entered at the crack of dawn. Okay? He hears the fucking commotion. He grabs his firearm. He does not point it at the officers. He just grabs his firearm, understandably, because he doesn't know what the fuck's going on. He thinks like people are breaking into his house. Cops open fire and kill him. He's not even a fucking target of the warrant. The gun is completely legal, and he's killed. Police used the no-knock warrant, opened up, and began screaming at the dude. At first, this is going to look worse than Breonna Taylor. In the gun that was never even pointed, no shots fired. They just wasted the dude half asleep on the couch. Remember all the reforms we were promised? Police unions have been on a tear, pumping money and intimidation to the spineless politicians to roll back even the slightest protections of the community. Biden meeting with Mayor Adams to roll back reforms to start the tough on crime movement, which never actually stopped. Remember, nothing, and I mean nothing, came of the fucking Black Lives Matter protests in the aftermath of George Floyd's execution. Nothing. Nothing. The only thing that happened was more propaganda, more pro-cop propaganda. The reason why you heard about like how Los Angeles is literally on fire. Oh my God, cities are on fucking fire. Police budgets are being cut back. They're being defunded. It's like, no, cops never fucking stop petty crime. Okay, cops don't stop crime in general, but they never actually solve fucking petty crimes. They're not very good at solving. They don't have like a good fucking conviction rate for many, many different kinds of crimes. But now they can just use that laziness as a justification because, oh, we're just too defunded. We just don't have, we're spread too thin. We're too fucking defunded. Their clearance rate is low. They're never good. They've never been good at this shit. Okay? They're never held accountable for the awful shit that they do. And we move on. We continue. Okay? We continue. We continue with the same song and dance. Okay? In a normal country, when something happens, in a normal country, something like this happens, like there's institutional reform. There's like actual changes that come along with it, you know? In America, we're just like, yeah, fuck it. Don't think about it too much. Come on. We need the cops to do this sort of stuff. You know? We got like this story itself as like a fucking 3-day, you know, maybe maximum a week on the burner before everybody fucking forgets about it, okay? It's gonna happen.
Guns drawn as they approach 22-year-old Amir Locke lying on the couch wrapped in a blanket. A gun can be seen in Locke's hand just before officers opened fire, only about 9 seconds after entering the apartment. The police department says Locke
like he pulls it out, but he doesn't even fucking point it. Like he's just like, he's terrified, okay? He's just terrified. He doesn't know what the fuck's going on. He's just scared. He's waking up on his couch to a bunch of people fucking with lights. A bunch of people with flashlights and guns pointed at him. His finger's not on the trigger.
pointed the gun in the direction of the officers. Officer Mark Hanneman fired 3 shots, 2 of them hitting Locke in the chest and 1 in the wrist. Locke was later pronounced dead at the hospital. Minneapolis interim police chief Amelia Huffman says SWAT officers were executing both a knock and no-knock high-risk search warrant in a homicide investigation.
The officer had to make a split-second decision to assess the circumstances and determine whether he felt like there was an articulable threat.
Huffman says Locke was not named in the search warrant, and it's unclear if he is connected to the homicide investigation. Huffman also confirmed officers recovered items that they believe are related to the case. Civil rights lawyer Ben Crump is representing the family and in a statement compared the shooting to the botched raid where police serving a no-knock warrant killed Breonna Taylor in her home in Louisville, Kentucky in 2020, saying in part, "This is yet another example of why we need to put an end to these kinds of search warrants so that one day Black Americans will be able to sleep safely in their beds at night."
If you're doing a no-knock warrant, you want to be stealthy. You want to enter before the...
They had his key to his apartment? What do you mean no-knock? What do you mean knock or no-knock? What the fuck? That's what a no-knock warrant is. It means you don't fucking... Okay. Your house is your domicile, okay? That's your safe haven. In America, we value private property above all else, right? So the place you live, the place that you're living in is incredibly important to you. So they can't just, cops have rules that they are supposed to abide by. They can't just like fucking knock your door down and go inside. It's your castle. So no-knock warrants, the distinction between no-knock warrants and like regular search warrants being issued is knocking on the door and announcing your presence as a police officer. And, you know, treating the other party as a human being.
People realize that you're there.
Professor of Law at the University of St. Thomas, Mark Osler.
People's empathy is going to lie with the eyes that they see it through. If you see it through the eyes of the people entering the room in blue, you're going to be thinking about that gun that could kill you. If you see it through the eyes of the person lying on the couch who's suddenly awakened and there's people rushing towards you, that's going to be a very different perspective.
Locke's family and attorney Ben Crump will be holding a news conference later this morning. Locke did not have a criminal record in Minnesota, and his family says he had a permit for the gun. Activist groups are calling for Officer Hanneman to be arrested and charged with murder. He is now on administrative leave pending an investigation into the incident. And keep in mind, you all,
nothing will happen to him. I don't think. Let's be fucking 100% real, okay? No shot. Like, no shot. And the other part of this is like, first of all, like, more so than the cop, who is a fucking piece of shit for obviously blasting immediately, okay? But there is another part that is at play here. There's a larger problem here than putting this fucking hopped up, steroided psycho with a gun and like very little fucking training and no accountability into a situation where he's gonna, of course, blast, okay? And that is the system itself. That is the allowance for no-knock raids. That is the idea that, like, you know, politicians run on abolishing no-knock raids and then refuse to do so. It's the court system that like allows cops to still get special no-knock raid privileges regardless, okay? It's not meeting the fucking metric for a no-knock raid ever and still being able to get it from specific judges that are tough on crime, okay? Like, of course, when, I mean, this is a powder keg. When you have like a 25-year-old or whatever the fuck, however old he is, okay, who has been trained to shoot and shoot to kill, that's what he's been trained to do his entire fucking life, 22-year-old, okay, like with very little training other than just escalation, you know, mag dump. And you put him in that situation where, like, he's excited. This is like an exciting opportunity. This is just like Call of Duty. This is just like Rainbow Six Siege. Okay? No, I'm not talking about the cop. I'm not talking about the kid. I'm talking about the cop.